Hello, everybody. My name is Matthew Robinson. I'm on the building committee and also on the board. I've been asked to give you guys all an update on where we are as far as the building is concerned. Um, so I'll try not to be super awkward here because I've never done anything like this before. I'll just pretend like you're not even here. How's that sound? So the first thing I want to go over is how you guys can ask questions, or gals. So you go to your phone, as put in here, to text us questions. You go to 778-716-6722, and you text build. You'll then pop up to a link, and from that link you can go in there and actually ask a question. So as I give you the update, the questions will filter in through here, and I'll try to get to as many as possible. This should be about a 20-minute thing altogether. Okay, so first things first, what have we been doing out there? So as most of you guys have driven by, you'll see that we are pretty well mostly done the demolition side of the project. So as part of that, you'll see that the wood on the outside is exposed, and we're putting Tyvek up as we go. For now, we're leaving in things like the windows and stuff like that, just to keep the elements out, but over time those will be replaced. As a lot of you people have asked, as we have ripped off the exterior, it's been kind of like, what are we going to find? And as part of that, we found some basically deteriorated plywood is the best way to put it. And that is mostly of a result of time, which is a big deal. For those of you that don't know, the plywood was originally put on there back in like 1982, 83, 84 era. So it's been on there for a long time. The other problem that we were experiencing is when we took off the exterior, we found that some of the vapor barrier was a little bit compromised. And in our building currently, as most of you know, and it's been going on for a long time, there's no air handling unit equipment up there doing any air conditioning or anything like that. So as a result of pulling that exterior off, we found that that'll lead us into doing some air treatments inside the auditorium, which will most likely be air conditioning and some heating augmentation. What else have we found? So we have also found that in digging the exterior underneath the church here, that the material there is great and there's no surprises there. As you can see, we've started digging on the two exits on the both sides of the church. We're down to the bottom, and on Friday this last week, we actually poured our first foundational walls. As part of that, on top of the foundational walls, we're actually going to be framing the new staircases in which we are going to be building onto. As part of all this, I'm sure you'd like to know as well when we intend on starting on the siding. So the siding itself will start in about 6 weeks from now, which I personally am super excited about. When we go to do that part, you'll find that things will change very rapidly after that. So in the meantime, you'll be looking at this big white box, Tyvek'd all up and protected for the winter from the elements. So yeah. The other funny thing I thought you guys might think is really funny is last week we actually found a raccoon living inside the building, so that was quite funny. So even though as a congregation we're not all allowed into the building, the raccoon is is in there in our place, so it was having a great time. It's now been removed. Another thing that we found as we started doing demolition and getting more in depth with the project is we found that most likely at this point it looks like we will be replacing our main sanctuary roof, which, as you can remember, when we started talking about this project back in 2014 or 2013, we were always hoping to push it past this this phase of construction. Now that we're here, though, and we realize that the roof isn't as it should be, because now it's 2020 and time has passed, it's very likely that we will be replacing that roof in this state of the project. Okay, what else can I tell you? Please continue to support us in your pledges that you have made. That has been just so amazing. As being part of the building committee, it's very nice to feel supported in what we're doing. Obviously, we have quite a large chunk of money in the bank set aside for this project, and we're just hoping to receive the last bit of funds that were pledged to us at the beginning. Yeah, so that's wonderful. Thank you so much for that. So as you heard me, the biggest changes at this point is that we're going to have to do some air conditioning to stop the plywood from rotting in the future because we're not treating the air. The other thing that we're going to have to do most likely is the roof. So I know a question that's on everybody's minds, including mine, is how does that affect our budget? So as of this exact moment, we have gotten prices and secured trades for almost every major scope of the project, and it currently looks like we're going to be okay for our budget. But as we like to say on the building committee, we just never know what we're going to find as time goes on. So if you could just be with us in prayer over that we will be able to be good stewards of the money that you guys have given us, and that we'll also be able to get good sub trades and so on and so forth. So that's pretty well the update from the big picture. I know it's been about 4 months since your last update. So we're just so happy that everybody can come and join in here and yeah, get a chance to ask some questions and get a general update of the project. Okay, so I'm going to do some questions here, like samples. So in the meantime, we'll make fun of me, I guess, for a while. So if you guys could jump in on that on your phone and answer some of these questions I'm going to ask you. So first of all, if someone wants to, what can I use as a question? Okay, how many kids do I have? If someone can answer that question, that would be wonderful. So if someone wants to respond to that, then you guys can just get good at it. In the meantime, I'm going to start on my first question that I have. So this question number 1 is, how long will the building take? That's a great question. I think we are always hoping to complete construction faster than we are. It's a never-ending cycle where you want to finish something that you started. I would say at this point we're looking at probably being finished by about March. The biggest thing I see as being a challenge for us, of course, with especially with the roofing. The rest of the exterior can go, and it's not dependent on weather. The concrete that we're pouring is not dependent on weather, so that part's all good. The only thing that'll cause us a hiccup at some point is the actual roof. So the roof itself needs a period of great weather for that. So that might be something that we're going to do everything else around the roof, and then in the springtime actually complete the roof. So that's probably the best answer I could give you at this point. I would say by Christmas time-ish, I would suspect that the building is at least 50% sided with the new material at that point. Okay, question number 2. Are we doing any renos construction inside? So we are always, via not necessarily the building committee, but the staff, for one, is always improving things on the inside, whether that's paint or a little bit of flooring or repairs that must happen. So that's constantly ongoing. If you haven't been here in a while, you're welcome to register online to come here for a service, by the way. You can see that the painting has been undertaken here by a group of volunteers, I believe, for the most part, and some church staff, basically since COVID began. So some things will definitely look different on the inside, new paint, freshen up kind of stuff. But as far as like actual renos inside, we're not doing any at this point. That doesn't mean that in the future, such as when we're finished this building exterior, that we won't jump onto something else on the inside that needs updated, such as, you know, the washrooms or maybe some flooring or the sanctuary or anything like that. Okay. Next question. Once construction is complete, and will we still have the grass patch area with a large tree and gardens? Yes, we will have that area at this time. I don't believe there's any plans to change that area. Are we updating that area at all? I do know that there is some new lighting going in there to help with events after dark. Other than that, that back area will remain largely the same as it is right now, except for, of course, there'll be new exterior on that part of the building, so it'll look brand new. What color is the exterior going to be? I'm not really a color person, so I actually don't know what color the exterior of the church is going to be. Do you know what color the church is going to be this year? No, we don't know. I don't know the color of the church. I'm so sorry. It's like a gray. Yeah, rendering's like a gray, but we can definitely find that out for you guys and get back to you on that question. Is there more questions? Okay. So I'm just getting my next question. Sorry about that. What type of siding will be used? Great question. So we actually have 3 different types of siding and exterior material that we're using. We're using a metal, like a corrugated metal type of product that you will see on, where would you see that? You would see that on a new commercial buildings use that all the time. It comes in a wide range of colors and it looks very sharp. The other thing that we're using there is something called hardy board, which if you have a new house, you most likely have some hardy board on it right now. Hardy board is like a concrete type product that we use that's excellent. The last thing that we're using is like a brick-like product as well. For the other words, like the brick stone, that'll make it look pretty, I guess is the best way to put it. It does look beautiful. And then the next question is just. Right. The other thing is if you do have any other questions that you would like us to answer, you're more than welcome to go on the church's website. And actually, there's a spot there at where you can email us. It's at hello@ridgechurch.ca. So, yeah, I'm hoping that everybody, as they drive by the church, feel free to drive by the church and actually take a look around on the outside and just see what it's actually doing. It is quite fascinating for me, and it's actually quite interesting to see. I think we've been working on trying to do this since I've been on the board, which is at least 4 years now. So it's really quite nice to see things actually come along and change. And it's really neat to see the way the building was originally constructed. One thing that's nice about the church is that it does have really good bones. The beams and everything are quite nice. We did actually have one beam that had some water damage on it, and we have a new glue beam that we've ordered to replace that. So that part of it is done really well. The other thing I can ask you people to do is to pray for us and what's happening at the church. I mean, I pray for this building of this church once a week at least, because for me it's something that I worry about and stress about, just about making sure that everything's completed on time and that the budget's kept together. And ultimately, we got to remember, as a church, it is just a building. I got to remind myself about that all the time. But yeah, that would be the best bet too. So, and you guys have 3 more minutes to ask questions. In the meantime, the other thing that's kind of interesting is the other building committee members are Brent Tedford, who's been leading the charge for us on the documents as far as getting us ready with the consultants. So Brent, this is what he does for a living. He's great at it, and we're just so thankful to have him. That's Mr. Tedford. Then we also have Dan Robinson. Dan Robinson is also on the building committee. He's been the one helping us out most recently with our insurances and making sure that everything is correct and that we're well insured for what we're about to do. The other one is Mr. Frew. Jim Frew is here on site, I think, 10 hours a day. At least it feels like that. He does a tremendous amount for this building and this church. If you see him in person, thank him. He's also helping our superintendent, Brent Gregor, as he has questions or old documents that he needs. Jim Frew will go and grab them from him. Jim Frew does other things, obviously, in the board as well. And then on that same building committee, we also have Jerome Penner. Jerome Penner is a builder himself. So Jerome is there helping, making sure that we do everything correctly, and he's just a wealth of knowledge for what he knows. And then, of course, we have Pastor Jonathan, who is there listening to what we have to say and just helping be that connection with the staff again for that as well. Just making sure, I always forget a building committee member, so I'm just making sure I got it right. Brent, Dan, Jim, Jerome, Jonathan. Yes, we're good. Okay, so then, because I forgot lots before. The other thing was our superintendent. Our superintendent on site full time is Brent Greger. Brent Greger actually attended this church many moons ago, and he was actually quite involved in the children's ministry at one point as the, I think it's called the Sunday school superintendent. And him and his wife attended here for years, and then most recently, last, I don't know, 15, 25 years, they've been at Burnett Baptist down the road. So Brent has been gracious enough to come along and lead this charge. What's interesting about that, of course, is that he was actually one of the original carpenters on the project that helped build it to begin with. Okay, next question. Question 5 is rolled in. Do you take volunteers for the building project? Okay, so we have had some people volunteer inside the church doing some painting and stuff like that. And for example, Mr. Frew is a volunteer, but for the most part, we're quite cautious to take actual volunteer like bodies on the church grounds because it has liabilities for us as a church. Okay, are we updating any, next question, sorry about that, folks. Are we updating any parking lot lighting? Yes, we are. So we're actually updating several parts of the lighting around the church, mainly in consultation with the staff, because there's events that they want to do outside. We have this big, humongous, beautiful church parking lot that we can't use at night because there's not adequate lighting. So we're actually running around right now changing some of the lighting, and we want to light this place up. I don't know if you guys know, this is really funny, but when Pastor Jonathan first drove past our church, he actually thought it might be a prison. And that's mainly because the lighting is just not adequate at night. And lighting, in case anybody knows, is extremely important to present a well-lit building at night in our area. So, okay, next question. Oh, the other thing I should mention to you as well is the other thing we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing some landscaping around the building. So this building basically hasn't been properly landscaped in the past. So as part of what we're doing right now, we are doing some not crazy, but rather simple landscaping around the church to kind of make it pop. Okay, next question, 7, will we say goodbye to the burgundy blinds? And then they have a note here, windows and sanctuary, just to kind of help me out. So yes, that's the other thing that's changing. So all windows on the church as a whole are getting replaced. Those windows in particular are actually, getting a new fancier type of blind that they'll be able to control to go up and down and open and close so that it doesn't create any problems. And I see, Pastor Dan is texting me while I'm trying to work here. He's saying, you're doing a great job, big guy. Well, thanks, Pastor Dan. You're much more better at this than I am. I can't even speak proper English. Okay, so question number 8. How can we continue to pray specifically for the building campaign? Okay, so that would be a great question. Important things for me and the building committee is that we, for one, stay in budget. That's pretty important to us. And also as we come up to decisions that have to be made over priority of using that money, if you just pray for us over that, as we just try and make the right decisions, and that we, reach out and think about them and make sure that we're getting what we need. So, okay, maybe another question. Okay, so I'm getting in trouble for not looking at the camera. Hi, camera. I actually, when I first got here, I thought that maybe I'd be able to walk around. The hardest part about doing this is they've got this little X on the floor, and they say that I can't even move. This is really hard for me to sit still. Okay. So that's pretty well the questions for today. I was trying to stay within 20 minutes, so we're just about there. If anybody has any other questions, again, you can email them to the church through the website, and we will be happy to answer them. Okay, thank you so much. See you later.